Welcome, beautiful soul family and star beings. Today, Spirit has guided me to provide a light language transmission to help us clear out the consciousness and mentality of victimhood. Oftentimes, what tends to happen is that, again, as children, because a lot of the things that we experience in this life stem from childhood wounds, or even schooling, or even just the system in general, we can be subjected to abusive relationships, traumatic experiences, places where we were made out to be the victim, places where people actually did victimize us. And we can internalize this on a deep core level and actually begin to think and feel like we are nothing but a victim. When a person adopts a victim mentality, they usually feel like everybody else is to blame. They have no responsibility or accountability for their own actions and their own part in the tango. As they say, it takes two to tango. And they constantly feel like they have this sense of moral superiority where they can't be wrong. It can definitely not be them, it's everybody else. There's always one finger pointing outwards and three fingers pointing back. And so this is one of those things, fam, where I don't want you to be harsh on yourself or down on yourself about this, because when we're looking at it from a psychological perspective, it makes sense why a lot of people are traumatized into a state of feeling like a victim, where they've been through some extreme situations and circumstances that were out of their control, or they experienced and observed really harsh environments, really difficult, tough, survival mode kind of circumstances that made them feel like they were the victim. And again, like I said, it's not something to be down on yourself or criticize yourself about, because on a larger scale, from a higher perspective, from a soul perspective, which is how I really want to address this, we have all at some stage been a victim. We have all been made out to feel like a victim, and we have all at some stage embodied the victim consciousness, simply because we are here to have a human experience. We're all going to experience all the different array of emotions, the good, the bad, the happy, the sad, the negative, the positive, all of it. And so we should never feel segregated in this. Every single person goes through these emotions that we are here healing, and that I am always being guided to bring through healings for. It's specifically because we all go through this, fam. And the difference between somebody who stays in the victim consciousness and somebody who becomes the victor of their own reality is the person who decides to overcome their challenges and obstacles, the person who decides to take the responsibility and accountability for their own inner state of being and their healing, the person who decides to look at themselves and understands that they too have a part to play, they too have a role to play in all of their situations, circumstances, surroundings, relationships, any dealing that they get into. They are also a key component of the way that that situation manifests itself. And when they take back their power in this way, they become the victor, the master manifestor, the co-creator, the alchemist of their own reality, because they're no longer feeling like they're at mercy to something that's happening from outside, from the external world. And that's usually what victim consciousness does to people. It makes them feel like they're at the mercy of the external world. It makes them feel like what's happening internally is because of what's happening externally, when they don't understand that it's the other way around. What's happening internally is being reflected back to us externally, so that we can go in and do the work, so that we can become consciously aware that there is an energy within us that is creating these situations and circumstances. And sometimes it's even your soul working through other people, working through the environment and the surroundings to mirror back to you something that needs to be addressed and healed, so that you can move forward on your journey, so that you can truly step into a more empowered, confident, courageous version of yourself, so you can really hone in on that self-worth and self-esteem from having done the deep inner work. It's the journey, fam. It's the healing. It's the process. It's not going to happen overnight. These wounds that we have been carrying as a collective, as a species, as a race, this has come from eons, lifetimes, generations, multiple timelines, and we cannot expect that we're just going to magic it and wave a wand and it's all going to go away in one day. What we must come to understand is that if it's taken a certain period of time for these wounds to create themselves and really create that deep, big, huge energetic pull and charge that they have, then it's going to take some time to heal that and release that charge and get rid of that energy and dismantle and dissolve it into the light. It's going to happen in layers. We're not ready to receive all the healing at once. It's just too much energy for our physical bodies to be taking on. It's going to make us extremely tired and lethargic if we try to do too much at once. So I always recommend just take your time with this, fam. Because when you see it from a higher perspective, when you see it on a soul level, to a certain degree, we have all been made to feel like a victim by the system and the situations and the circumstances in the larger world and the greater world around us, where we felt like we've had our freedom stripped away, where we felt like there really was no free speech, we really couldn't be ourselves, we had to do everything in a certain way, show up a certain way, be a certain way, speak a certain way, just to be a part of the tribe. But now Spirit is saying, the more unique you are, the more you express yourself in all your multidimensionality, we are not here, fam, to kiss ass, okay? We are not here for that purpose. We are not here to please the system, to please others, to constantly give our power away, to feel like we're at effect to something, at the mercy of something outside of us, to feel like God's going to punish us and send us down to hell. Fam, when you've been to hell enough times, heaven and hell are both on earth. It's an experience. It's a state of being. When you've been to hell that many times, and I know if you are a light worker, if you are a starseed, if you are here on a mission, fam, and you're a star being, I know for a fact that you have experienced the depths of hell that many times, that all these tools and resources that the divine is bringing onto planet Earth now is literally the way out. It's the map out. And when you've been to hell that many times and you've mastered your way out, you don't mind going back there. I know for a fact with me and my healing process and my journey, anytime I get flung backwards, anytime I dip in vibration, anytime I have to go back and revisit certain things that I felt like I've already sort of healed and conquered from, I allow that process now. I don't act hard on myself. I don't get mad with myself. I don't get angry or frustrated with myself. I literally say, okay, oh yeah, this is hell again. I know this place. I know this place well, and I know how to get out of here. It's like a maze, and there's a million exits and they all lead you back to your divine destiny, your divine path. But I actually feel okay there. I don't try to escape it. I don't try to bypass it. I'm like, this is where I need to be right now. This is where I'm going to learn what it is that I need to learn to act as a tool and a resource for me when I do come back into a higher vibration, when I get flung back into alignment with my true authentic self, and I come back into that state of radiance, come back into that state of illumination. So whenever I go backwards, I actually allow it. I give myself time to sit there, reflect, understand what that experience is trying to teach me, and really soak up the knowledge and the wisdom and the understanding from that, so that when I teach and what I preach is coming from a space of not just experiential learning, but reflecting upon that experience so that I can truly understand what it was trying to teach me to begin with. And so I highly recommend that if you have been struggling with victimhood consciousness, victimhood mentality, where you feel like everything is always happening to you, everything bad always happens, people treat you like shit, you can't trust anybody, you don't know if you can trust yourself, you're always feeling like it's something outside of you, I highly encourage you to take some time to sit down. And you can do this, in your mind. You can write it down if you'd like to, if you're somebody who likes to get it out on paper and you're more of a visual learner. But really sit with yourself and ask yourself why you feel this way. And is it something somebody else has done? And if it is something somebody else has done, it's time for you to disconnect from that. It's time for you to visualize yourself in them. And it's time for you to forgive them. Because the resentment and the unforgiveness, the hostilities that you are holding on to and feeling like a victim because of, are actually blocking you. They're blocking your path. They're blocking your blessings. Forgiveness may not actually set them free, but it will set you free. And because the energy sets you free, it's automatically going to set that aspect of them free as well. It may not appear straight away because they have their own lessons to learn, they have their own path to live, they have their own experience to have. But from your end, you energetically detaching from that, you saying that you forgive, and it doesn't have to be some grand display where you go and tell that person, hey, listen, I forgive you, mate, right? Are you listening? I forgive you. You don't have to do that. You can just have that inner dialogue with yourself, that inner feeling of release from your body, from your heart, from your senses, from your chakras, where you're finally able to forgive the person, if it is a person or an institution or a group of people or a family or friends or whoever it was that you felt like made you feel like a victim. And then go one beyond that and start to see it from a soul perspective and realize that we've always been suppressed and repressed and oppressed by the system to the point where it's made us feel like we're at effect to them, that we're at the mercy of them, that we can't move, we can't breathe, we can't go anywhere without having to comply or be obedient to something that doesn't sit right with the soul, something that doesn't make sense to the soul, because the soul is energy, it's eternal, it doesn't have confinements, it's boundless, it's infinite. And in a physical experience, that can make us feel trapped. And that can make us feel restricted. And that can make us feel caged, like we're imprisoned. And those times that you feel imprisoned and you feel like you're a victim because of it, that is your training grounds. That is your boot camp. The prison itself is what will set you free. Because only when you come out of there and you experience freedom for the very first time, you're going to be thankful that all the healing that you did while you felt stuck, while you felt like a victim, all of the energy clearing that you did, all of the effort that you put in, all of the accountability and responsibility that you took for yourself is paying off tremendously on the flip side of that. So take your time, fam. Don't rush your process. Don't rush your journey. It's okay. We've all experienced this. We've all been through these wounds. But you being here today is a high indication that you are one of those people who's ready to take responsibility, ready to take accountability, ready to stop blaming and shaming others, and ready to stop blaming and shaming yourself, and step into a state of being victorious, aligned with your truth, your true eternal divine nature, the part of you that is infinite, the part of you that is immortal, the part of you that is connected to the oneness of all things. You are no longer willing to play the victim. You are no longer willing to act like a victim. It's now time for you to understand that you are the master manifester, the alchemist, and the co-creator of your own reality. You are going to be victorious. You're going to have the confidence and courage to see through all obstacles, trials, and tribulations and overcome them. And that's the energy that's going to come through in this transmission. It's going to help you to overcome. It's going to build your character. It's going to build your resilience. It's going to build the kind of self-worth and self-esteem that only comes from having the experience of having done the work and knowing how you have conquered on the other side, feeling it, feeling the shift, seeing the shift, living the shift, being the shift. Thank you for this work, fam, that you are doing on yourself, because as we collectively rise, as we do this work on an internal level, on an individual level, we are helping each other collectively. We are uplifting each other collectively. We are coming out of those old programs, those old grids, the matrix grid of making us all feel small and keeping us stuck in a box and keeping us in this victim state, when really we are master manifestors, we are co-creators, we are powerful beyond measure. We can do anything that we put our mind to. We can do anything that we consciously choose to focus our energy in the direction of. We can reap the rewards of the beautiful seeds we sow. And the seeds that we sow today, we may never sit in the shade of those seeds of that tree. But Spirit has already had somebody before us, other light beings before us, who have already planted the seeds, and these massive, amazing trees, fruitful trees, grounded, rooted into the core of Gaia, are there waiting for us to sit under their shade, for us to pluck their beautiful fruits, and for us to taste the sweetness of the divine. Because what we are doing today, that's going to be somebody else's reward in the future. We may never get to see it, but because we're doing that work, we are going to get to live it in the way that the divine knows will be to our highest good and to the greatest good of all. Be proud of yourself, fam. Only look back to see how far you've come. When life takes you back, it's literally to give you a bird's eye view of how far you've come. If you can become the observer, if you can become the allower, if you can become the receiver, then you will always have an infinite supply to give. And you will always receive the learning, the blessing, the lesson in every single experience. And it will continue to unlock more and more of your blueprint and bring you online in alignment with more and more of your soul blueprint, your soul purpose, your soul mission, and your higher self. I felt really called to address this today, actually, from a spiritual perspective rather than a psychological and human perspective, because I think the mind tries to dissect everything. It dissects the crap out of everything to the point where there's nothing left to dissect. And sometimes it can leave us more confused. But when you tap into things from a soul level, from an energetic perspective, and you understand that we're all in this together, we're all experiencing different things at different times, but in the crux of it all, we all have to go through these feelings and emotions. We all have to learn. We're all here to learn. And if we can treat this earth, this school, I always call it a school, if we can treat it like a playground and we can have fun through those experiences, have fun through those learnings, laugh about it, fam. Laugh about it, Have some time to just bring that humor to life. Love the experience. When you begin to love the experience, life will show you how much it loves you back, because you're exuding that energy. You're saying, I'm a victor, I'm courageous, I can do this, I got this, I know who I am, I'm here for something magnificent and amazing, and I'm not leaving this place until I experience every last drop of me and experience all the beauty that this place has to offer me in this lifetime. And just be open to that. Let's begin. Irikatakaro Shturianamase Anarakate Uryapapate Ushtirikiria Anakiria Aratos Chunyarat Eserekorio Nananashiratoru Iniratos Churyatara Ustunyaninas Erakatas Churyatate Karatatus Chiata Anaratoria Nini Ustunya Narakatokosyu Yatatasche Naratus Yatanus Chera Anakateratoschu Ininiaratatos Urutus Yatanakeratoschu Rakatunyaratata Inyarataschu Anakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatak Ariatatatascho, Aria Inderatodoshi Ataka Iliatatascho, Honjo. Iriakat at ut usuru dodusho nurodo sarata neketera tashuria tatatapopo, Hiatata siniakata, Hariata dosho. Inaraktascho, Yatate tatorio dosho, Gurudosho, Gurudosho, Iriatatescho, Natakaratera Katorio, Gurudosho, Irakatoro, Suria, Tatatea, Yarakotosho, Retata, Iriata dos Juriata Tanara Tokosuya Taterata
Hiriata no shuriata sekata tena no kuturu tutu. Hiriata to shuriaha. Hariata na se ha 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 ha. Hariato shu. Hanirata tora to shina kata. Hiriata ta vesero tutu shu. Hariata tate hariata toscha. Hariata nunkere kitira to shura tutu. Inira kata sira kite sira tataschu. Rata sira tata siraka. Come back into alignment with your power. Inira tascha rata irata to nuru tu tu tu. Uru tu tu shuru tu. You are a beacon of light. Inira tascha harata to shuru tu. Roku tu shuru tata tera katire tesi. Harata to shu. See yourself clearly. Harakate sanakata ishturu katara sera narakata shunya rakatera tarakatu uyata nerakatascha uryakata nerakatakascha rakatu shunyakata harakata kuturya rakata tata rakata shurya tata eriana rasu Uriam nira tatascho, yera tatare taturu nuru tatastera tata, harakatu yaraka nene raka, urianana hes charaka harkutu ira, herianaka, hareatus chananana, uriapaka.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is done, it is done, it is done, and so it is.